Okay, I'm Judy Kelsey. I've been with the Friends of the Library for since 2006 or 7, and I've been treasurer since 2009. And I've been very active in helping to get our new library built, raising funds, and I've really enjoyed the connections I've made over the years.
I'm Sarah Kohler. I am the branch manager of the Ferndale Public Library and the Mobile Services Department, and I've worked at the Whatcom County Library System for 22 years. So Judy has been the treasurer for almost the entire time that I have been the branch manager. And shortly about the time that you became involved in the Friends group was when the $1 million donation came in,
That
correct?
came in, and I remember they were going to have a meeting, and they said I didn't have to be there. But I went to the second one, I said, oh, I really need to be here. Because there was a lot involved with the finances. And the very first fundraiser we had was the book run with the police station did it with us.
Right.
Because they were feeling guilty. They took
So
over
let's
our
back up a
building.
little bit. So there was an anonymous donation for $1 million to build a brand new library in Ferndale. And that, we didn't know where that came from. And there was a couple of years that just kind of sat there, and we tried to do a little bit of fundraising but didn't get very far. And the city needed a new building for the police station, and they had tried to pass a bond a couple of times without any success. So the current mayor and city council at that time decided that the building that the library was in would be very good for the police station, that'd be appropriate for the police station, and that they were going to move us. So we ended up, there was a lot of contention around that. There was a lot of bad press. People were, the police are kicking out the librarians and blah, blah, blah.
Yes.
So we did do a fundraiser together with the police department. It was a fun run, and it was called the Book It Fun Run. So, and it was a 5K, started at City Hall and went around and, circled back around and came back around. So, yeah, that was one of the big first fundraisers that Judy had to kind of keep track of the money. And that we did, it was an official race so that people who like to time their races we had the timer and everything so that went on there, keeping track of the things that they do. Yori Burnett's wife, Nicole, actually helped with that quite a bit because she's also a runner. So she was quite involved in that as well.
Yes.
So that was the first big fundraiser that we
were
did.
giving out T-shirts. I remember that because someone was going to work with me at that table, was giving out T-shirts willy-nilly, not realizing they had to be paid for. Anyway, but we got through it, and it was
Yeah.
it was quite a day.
It was. And then the next big one was probably the Bob Shop, right?
Bob Shop, yes, we built the Bob Shop.
So there's an abandoned building. It's next to the current building and it used to be Dimitri's, and it's been empty for quite a while, but the city of Ferndale owns it and is very attached to it for some reason.
Yes.
But we had a short window of time that there was a matching opportunity for the fundraising. So for every dollar that we raised, it was matched by the donor. And there was, I think it was within, I want to say 4 months is what comes to mind.
Is that by the same $1 million donor?
We don't know.
We don't know.
Probably, but I don't know. Every once in a while, the fundraising would stall, and then an anonymous donor would step forward and do something to help get it going again. So they had done a matching opportunity, so the Friends talked to the city, and the city let them use that building, and they had a thrift shop for
We had all kinds of things. So people would donate items that we would sell and keep the money for them. A lot of books. A lot
a lot of books, but a lot of other things too.
A lot of other things.
Pottery and just
everything.
garage sale kind of
exercise
stuff.
equipment, furniture, just
And
everything.
they called it the Bob Shop, and that was for Build Our Building. And all of the ladies worked in there quite a bit. It was quite successful for what it was.
A little smelly. It was moldy downstairs.
And
on a rainy day, you knew it.
Yeah. But I don't remember how much money you raised.
I don't either.
It was actually pretty successful.
I'm sure. Well, I do have it at home. I
Sure.
have ledgers. I know.
Sure.
I have all that stuff.
And that was all matched.
So that was matched, and we raised over the years approximately $100,000 through matching funds. I think we did about 60%, and the other 40% came from matching funds.
So about $60,000 total that they actually raised. Majority of that through the book sales,
Just
of
book
25
sales.
cents, $1. Expensive book is $2.
Yeah, yeah.
And all of, and just worked, they went down to Street Festival, would have book sales down at the
Sell
Street
books down
Festival. And then they also got quite involved in, we had a levy lid lift, and I think that would have been in 2009. I wouldn't swear to that, but I think so. And so they got quite involved in that as well, of getting the word out of why the lid lift needed to get lifted. That didn't come out very well, did it? They had signs, they wrote letters to the editor, they
Walk
were
over
down
the-
at the street festival, they were at the bridge with the
Big picketing,
signs,
yeah.
getting the word out that that needed to pass, and it did. And then when we were down at Pioneer Pavilion, and it was time to pass the bond, we had raised,
We had everything but $12,000. Wasn't
no,
that
we
much?
had about 66% of the building,
Oh,
money of the building
before
raised, and we
earlier
needed
then.
about another 30, about,
This is before that then.
no, this was kind of that final bond part of it, but anyways, they developed a political action committee. The libraries union helped with that. Diane was quite involved in that, but Judy was the treasurer for that.
So I got
So she had to keep track of the funds for that as
packed meeting all
well.
of a sudden.
And again, they were out at the bridge, and they were everywhere and
Everywhere,
anywhere,
everywhere.
wearing T-shirts. They were in the parades. In
We
fact,
pick it, even went Long Vista, we even went on any place where there'd be a lot of traffic.
yeah.
That's where we were.
So.
And it passed.
So the Friends were, without the Friends group that we have, this building would not exist, for sure.
That's really nice to say, but
Yeah,
we
no,
really pushed for it.
you did. You
And
pushed,
the neighbor, I mean, the idea was that the word got out to everybody, and I think it did.
they did.
And they voted for it. And fortunately, as I mentioned earlier, it was before the school bond issue came up, because I'm afraid if it had been afterwards, it would have failed.
And then Judy's continued to be involved since we've been in this building. They have the bookstore, and Judy's here every Monday and Friday.
No, Monday, Wednesday.
Monday,
for me.
Wednesday, excuse me.
I come
Monday,
on Friday
Wednesday
when I
morning.
have to.
And help sort books and price books, and every time we have her meetings, she's got her books are immaculate. I don't know what we're gonna do when she decides she doesn't wanna do
I've
this
been told I
anymore.
have to do it for 10 more years. That's gonna make me 90.
I tell you what, you
That
can
was
stop
Noreen.
when I retire.
Okay.
You and I, Noreen, will retire together.
I think
How's
so.
that? Sound like a plan?
So Judy, what motivates you? Why are you doing this?
I enjoy, well, first off, I got involved just because of reading, and I just love books, okay? And you make relationships with people over the years, and now it's just a group of friends, truly friends, okay? Not just friends of the library, but friends of each other as well. And I don't mind doing the books, you know. I know Noreen keeps pushing me, you should retire from it, but at the same time, if there's someone to take it over, you just don't drop it and walk out. Who's gonna pay the bills? So, anyway, and I don't mind doing that. I have a math background, I was a math teacher. So it's okay as long as they put up with me.
And I think Judy, so many of the ladies in the Ferndale Friends group, and I think this is probably true of all the Friends groups, are not from Ferndale. They joined the Friends group because they're looking for
For
connections. They're
connections.
looking for some friends, they're looking for something to do, they're retired, and they don't know anybody in the area. Or they might know, maybe they have children in the area, but those are not their
Nothing.
peers. And so they join the Friends group and start making friends and connections, and it gives them something, a network, I guess,
network,
lack of
really,
another,
yeah.
right, and become friends.
Yeah, because I joined after my husband passed away. And it was kind of at loose ends, you know, and because you spend those years caretaking and kind of lose out on things. And I was ready to get back into into things, just get back into things, do something.
Yeah.
And of course, the library was always,
Right.
in fact, when we moved to Ferndale, before we did anything else, we got a library card. Voters registration, that'll come. Library card was first.
Nice, nice,
So
yeah.
it's just the connection you just have to have, you know.
So, yep, she's followed us, been with us up on
Yes, I was.
2222 Main Street, which is now the police station, down to
And then
Pioneer
down the
Pavilion,
pavilion,
down on
and down
Cherry
this one.
Street. And they had a
And
nice
this
big
is-
bookstore there as well.
Yes,
And
they
then
did.
helped us move into here. So she's been with us through 3 buildings now, so.
Yeah.
Sharon Noreen,
Anyway.
yeah.
That's it.
We're lucky to have you.
I'm lucky to be here.